I'm back from completing my first Ironman 70.3 branded event in Cascais. I thought I'd give you a little insight into what it entailed, the travel, the race itself, kind of how it went, the atmosphere, highlights, and some post-race thoughts. I'm going to do a really quick intro and recap just so that people who just want to find out what went on in the race don't have to watch the whole spiel and whole kind of highlight reel, video, etc. They can just watch the next 30 seconds and get a full update on how the race went and what I thought of it. The Ironman brand lived up to the hype. There's no two ways about it. It was insane. 5,000 competitors, 10,000 spectators. It was unbelievable. The atmosphere there was absolutely electric. I've never experienced anything like it, and I've been to the Commonwealth Games this year. In terms of the race, I've broken it down into three main sections, obviously the swim, bike, and the run, but the fight before the gun, losing my nutrition, and also just quads completely obliterated during the run. So very quickly, had a great swim, was leading the swim for at least half of it before someone else overtook me. I think the eventual race leader, so yeah, had no qualms with that, got to sit in his feet. Then got onto the bike, had a little bit of an issue with my zip on my suit. Again, we'll go into that a little bit more later, but essentially meant that I missed the very front of the race, so one or two got up the road, but I was third man on the road, and yeah, just kind of plugged through it on my own for quite a while before being caught 30k into the race by the main chase pack, of which all came together with one guy out front. Got off the bike relatively okay after having lost my nutrition during that ride, which caused obviously lack of nutrients, lack of hydration, and my quads to cramp on the run. So that's a very quick synopsis. But in terms of where I came 12th overall, 12th pro in the field, and yeah, I was really, really pleased with it overall. Obviously, would have preferred my legs not to cramp, but we can't have it all. Hopefully, that was quick enough and simple enough for you guys that don't want to continue watching the rest of the video. But if you do want to carry on watching the rest of the video and you do get enjoyment out of watching it and kind of my race reflections, opinions, and tricks and tips, do hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. It helps the channel out, and hopefully we can continue to grow and be better at making these videos together. Just set off on our way to Portugal. Cascais? Last race of the season. Hopefully it'll be good. I'm fit, I'm ready. I'm just just trying to battle through these last bits and pieces of injury and probably just load up on meds. The lead-in and travel to the event, like I said before, was very easy. Emily made that really easy because she shared the journey with me, she drove with me, we hired a car, which is like highly advisable, especially just to get in and around the city centre in Cascais. How was that?
Well, it was fine, apart from the steaming lady singing "You Raised Me Up" for the last 15 minutes.
We flew into Faro and then drove up there, but because we were there quite a few days prior, it meant that it didn't really take anything out of the race. Doesn't mean that I didn't feel terrible the day after travelling. I definitely recommend leaving a good few days prior to the race to be able to get used to the travel, or just get the legs whirring, get the arms moving, and loosen up a little bit a couple of days out from the race. I'd really, really advise that if you can. That being said, I had a disaster on my prep day. So not a complete disaster by any means, but I did turn up to the pool and I'd forgotten my trunks. And obviously, like when you're trying to just go through the motions on race week, which is already a little bit intense and a little bit kind of uptight because you're stressed and obviously nervous for the race itself, you just want things to go well and go easily. Not ideal that I'd forgotten my trunks and therefore it threw my whole day. I planned to swim in the morning first thing and then run straight after. Evidently that didn't happen because I forgot the trunks, which meant I just sacked it off, went home. I was already tired from travel the day before. So yeah, just went home, reset, made my bike up, and then went out on the bike that afternoon. I managed to do a run straight after that bike rather than after the swim in the morning, just so that I could chunk them together and I didn't have to do two sessions separating the day out and kind of having to kind of motivate myself to do more than one thing in that day. The day after, we had the athlete pro briefing. So in the morning, first thing, I went out for my prep ride, did a course recce, which was ridiculous because it was up and over the hills. This definitely boded well within the race because I knew what was coming up, I knew where to take care, and I knew where to try and keep my nutrition on the bike itself. After the ride, I went to the Athlete Pro briefing. And straight after that, I went and racked my bike in the racking area about 2 to 3 o'clock, which is mad, by the way. Like, you have to do it a whole day before the race. Like, not even in the evening or anything like that. It's quite early on in the day, so you definitely have to get your ride done first thing in the morning if you've got a ride to do the day before the race. Straight after racking, I went down to the swim recce, did the whole swim course I did, just to make sure I knew where I was going. Had no idea. It was just not clear what was going on. I didn't even know the next day during the race itself. Did what I thought was the course recce, and yeah, saw loads of jellyfish, and yeah, it was fine. It was really nice actually. It was stunning in the water. Like the temperature was a little bit cold, so definitely a wetsuit swim, but that didn't matter too much. I enjoy wetsuit swim and non-wetsuit swims. So straight after that, I managed to do a little run and jog just to loosen the legs and make my way back to the apartment just to chill out. Okay.
Why?
Because
Josh.
you have to hop over the water and it might pull. The groin might pull. Oh well, give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
How was it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's so clear, but there's some big fuck off jellyfish. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. It's hopefully a swimmer's swim. People know what that means. It's nice and calm, and it should suit swimmers rather than non-swimmers being able to sit on feet in choppy water. A man on a mission to find an ATM. She said it's just around here.
Is that one?
Just 2 seconds. The struggle is becoming apparent. Hold on. This one is insufficient.
On top of that.
Oh, is it? Were you successful?
No, she's told me where they are.
And now he's resorted to the one that's been in front of us the whole time. Now, before the race even began, I'd made sure that I was on the start line with plenty of time to spare, because I knew that I wanted the inside line before running into the water. It was a beach start, so we had to run into the water. The inside line was definitely the preferred place to be, because it meant that you'd hit the inside of the first buoy first, essentially. Like, it was the shortest route, you could run further for longer, and you'd be on the inside of the buoy. I was there so early to try and make sure that I got this spot, and then all of a sudden this guy was, I don't know who this guy was, obviously a very good pro, because I think he ended up beating me. Not to say that I'm a very good pro, but he was just good. But anyway, he tried pushing in front of me and taking the space that I'd waited 15 minutes prior to him turning up to be in. So I was just like, excuse me, get out the way. Obviously that was a far nicer way of putting it than I actually did at the time, because I was quite frustrated with nerves and stress level quite high. And anyway,
for the very first time,
essentially told him to move. The spectators, which were like within 30 centimetres of me, were like, you're completely in the right, but having a chuckle at how much of a fuss I'd made out of it. Again, apologies to this guy. Don't know who you are, but yeah, I'm sorry for being a little bit uptight. We did shake hands and be like, okay, all fair game, like, let's just have a good race. It's 4 hours long, like, it will come to be whatever. But I was like, nah, I want this good start. I want to be in the right place at the right time. I've waited here, I deserve this place. So yeah, get out my way, essentially. But yeah, I had a really good start. Andreas Salversberg actually managed to nip in front of me and take that inside line because he got a better run off of the beach. Fine, that's great. He took quite a far line left, which I was absolutely fine with. We kind of swam side by side-ish for quite a while, and then he kind of let me take the lead, I think. Which, yeah, I probably would have done if I were him as well, especially, well, I think he posted on his Instagram that the pace was a little bit too high for what he wanted to do. I mean, he's an Olympian, he probably could have pushed far harder than what I was going, but just chose not to, sensibly. Anyway, I managed to swim the first half of the swim at the front of the race, probably
Well done, Josh,
a little bit
well done,
behind,
Josh.
before the eventual race leader overtook me, and I was more than happy to sit on his feet, because by that time I was like, okay, done my work here, quite happy to just sit on, let you do your thing, and we'll just come out the water. I'll let him come out the water first, although he actually took a full line out of the water, so I almost actually overtook him going over the timing mat. But yeah, no, I thought that I'd let him the swim props for leading out the swim, and yeah, run up the transition mat and onto the bike. However, before we got onto the bike, because of the suit that I was wearing, the suit that I was wearing was the entire no pins race suit, and I lend that suit out to clients because it's my old race suit. I lend it out to clients if they either don't have one or are waiting on theirs from no pins and just want to borrow one for their race because the no pins one hasn't come in time, for example. So it's seen its fair share of usage. And when I went to zip it up, the zip pinged, and I don't really know how to describe this any more than the zip was at the top and it was completely undone from top to bottom. So I had to kind of unzip it, sort out the zip, like pull half of the zip through, re-zip it up, and then get on my bike. But all of that just allowed the guy at the front of the race to get away, and the eventual race leader, who was sat in between me and the guy at the front of the race. And so I was third on the road. I was third on the road with a chase back of about 8 people, I think it was, behind me, and they were a good 2-3 minutes at the start of the ride behind, and they absolutely flew up to me after by the end of the first 30k. So we hit the Formula 1 circuit, and at the end of that they'd caught me, which I wasn't too disappointed about. I saw them coming from quite a while back, but I thought my race plan was at the end of 30k to assess the situation and kind of make best use of the group that I was in at the time. So that's exactly what I did. Literally sat in that group until the end of the bike ride and came off the bike with what I thought was going to be a decent amount of energy. That was not the case, because halfway around the bike, despite having attached my nutrition relatively solidly, it came off and flew out. Because I'd undone the elastic bands that I put around it so I could actually have it to drink. However, it kind of just bounced out as soon as I'd taken the elastic bands off, so I definitely need to reassess that going forwards. This did mean that the run was a bit of a death march. So what happened on the run is I started off fine. First probably 10k. I think I went through 10k in about 35 minutes, so roughly where I'd want to be at. Obviously everything came to kaboot. I was a bit of a mess after that. My quads both cramped up, similar to that of Eton. So I definitely need to make sure that I fuel and hydrate well in the future. I think if I'd stuck to my nutrition plan, I would have been absolutely fine. Even the nutrition that they had on course, I couldn't necessarily grab and put into the basket because it just wasn't suitable. Any advice on how you keep your nutrition on your bike in terms of water, etc., please leave in the description below, or in the comments below, should I say, and I'll definitely be using that to help me next season when I come back to racing and try and actually keep the nutrition on my bike. So yeah, it was a bit of a waddle at the end of the run. I kind of just had to try and make it to the finish. It wasn't ideal. I was about 4 or 5 minutes off what I think I can actually run or have run in the past. I think it's mainly down to nutrition. I lost half of it on the bike. So yeah, it's one of those where it's bittersweet, because whilst I think that there's those 4 or 5 minutes quite easily gained from doing the nutrition correctly, I obviously didn't do it right on the day, and that's quite frustrating. So yeah, one of those things. In terms of the whole experience, it was incredible. Like, I'm so pleased that I went to this race. I was umming and ahhing for quite a few weeks prior whether or not I'd actually be able to do it just because of my injuries, but I'm so glad I went. The experience was insane. Like, I'd definitely go to Casçais again in the future. It was such a nice city, even just for a holiday. Like, it was so nice. I can't recommend it enough. I will almost definitely be going back there again next year. In terms of what this means for my racing and kind of off season, I'll definitely be focusing on that run, because I've proven quite a few times that I can be at the front of the race in the swim and on the bike. So if I can just convert those two disciplines into a good run by, one, getting better at those two disciplines so that they cost me less and I can run better because of that, but two, also being a better runner, that will be my focus over this winter period, is getting that run volume up, like doing some good solid run sessions, improving my efficiency, improving my technique, doing all of these things. Again, comment below on recommendations for these things, and that's going to be my plan going forward, and hopefully be able to qualify for, I guess, the World Championships in Finland next year for the 70.3 race, and also be competitive in these races and hopefully get on that podium that I really, really want. But it is so competitive, like it's unbelievably competitive. That was one of the toughest races I've had. The bike power was ridiculous from the guys that were catching me, for one, but also whilst I was in the group, it was still bloody tough, like so difficult to keep up. It's hard to explain without actually being in the group. Like my average power wasn't ridiculous. I rode those numbers almost exactly in Nottingham half last year, but I think it's just the way that it was ridden and the like surges and things like that really knocked me. So yeah, really good experience, really good learnings for next time, and yeah, I hope I can keep on delivering some good content over the coming months. Hope you join me on the journey, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.